Hi, I'm Blake with VMware, and welcome to this video where I'll show you how to install Windows Server 2022 using VMware Workstation for your Laserfiche demo environment. We'll walk through the various configuration options so you can get your Windows Server 2022 VM up and going. Let's get started. For this video, I have already installed the VMware Workstation trial software. There are a lot of videos on YouTube about how to install VMware Workstation or Player, so if you need help getting it installed, walk through one of those and come back to follow along. The first step to installing Windows Server 2022 in VMware Workstation is to create a new virtual machine. You can do this in VMware Player as well, but the screen options may be slightly different. I'll click the Create a New Virtual Machine button. I'll leave the typical options selected, and I'll choose the option to install the operating system later. I'll do that using the ISO file we downloaded in our previous video. For my guest operating system, I'm going to choose Microsoft Windows, and from the version drop-down list, I'll choose Windows Server 2022. On the naming screen, I get to choose a name for my virtual machine and where I want to save the virtual machine files. I'm going to name mine Windows Server 2022-base and save it to my secondary drive. I recommend choosing a local drive rather than an external drive if possible for performance reasons. You may be asking, Blake, why did you name your VM that way? I like to make copies of my VMs as I progress through the various configurations and installations. This allows me to go back later and use those VMs at a specific state based on what I want to do, such as walking through an installation again or performing an upgrade. For disk capacity, I like to make sure I'll have enough space for the various files and applications that I'll be putting on the system. So I'm going to set mine to 100 gig, and we'll leave the option to split virtual disk to multiple files. I now get a nice summary screen to review all of my settings. Everything there looks good, so I'll go ahead and click Finish. I can now see my new virtual machine in the left menu. I want to give my virtual machine more resources than what it gets by default, so I'll select it and click the Edit Virtual Machine Settings link. I'm going to give my virtual machine 16 gigs of RAM because I have a total of 32 on my host machine. Be sure not to give your virtual machine too many resources or your host machine will not have enough to operate. I'll also change the number of processors to 4, since I have 8 on my host machine. To install Windows Server 2022, I need to tell the virtual machine how to access the ISO file. I'm going to do this by attaching it as a CD/DVD drive. I'll tell it to use an ISO image file and browse the location of where I downloaded it. On the Options tab, I'm going to select the Advanced option on the left and check the Disable Side Channel Mitigations for Hyper-V enabled hosts. If you check this box, you'll receive a message from VMware Workstation letting you know that it's enabled and can cause performance issues. Now I'll click OK to save my changes. With my settings saved, I'll now start my virtual machine by clicking the Power on this virtual machine link. When you see the VMware screen, you'll want to click into the virtual machine, so when prompted you can press a key to boot from CD or DVD, which is the Windows Server 2022 ISO file we selected previously in our settings. Here, I'll leave the defaults for language and format, but change yours as needed. And now, we'll start the install of Windows Server 2022. I'm not going to cut anything out of this video so you can see how long it took for me to install Windows Server 2022 on my machine. If you don't want to watch the progress bars of the installation, feel free to move forward in the video. I'm going to choose the Windows Server 2022 Standard Edition Desktop Experience. This gives you the normal GUI that you're used to, instead of using command prompt and PowerShell only. I'll accept the Microsoft software license. And for type of installation, I'll choose Custom Install Microsoft Server Operations System Only Advanced, since we aren't doing an upgrade. My 100GB drive is the only option, so I'll leave that. And now the installation of the operating system is happening. I did receive a blue screen of death after the install restart of the VM, but I just let it restart it on its own, and when it came back up, it loaded without any issues. You'll notice it took me a couple of times to set the administrator password. By default, the password must meet complexity requirements. And that's it. In a few steps, you can get Windows Server 2022 installed on your VMware Workstation VM. If you have found this video helpful and want to see more, be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep phishing.